Ba-da-ba-bam-bam. Banger Management Fantasy Hockey Podcast. Woo!
Woo!
No woo for Josh today. Very sad. But the two best Banger Management hosts are here.
It's funny that you said that because I was thinking the exact same thing. What are the odds? At least the two best ones are still here.
That's it. That's it. Josh wishes he could be here today, but he is unfortunately heartsick from the lack of exciting trades this week.
He was, I know this man probably like ruined the muscles in his finger clicking refreshed a whole day on Friday. And now he's sick. So what are the coincidences? I don't know.
That's it. That's it. Okay, speaking of trades, today is our Week 20 News and Updates episode. Of course, we got our famous Would You Rathers in there as well. We're going to focus a lot on the trades from the past week. Some are decently fantasy relevant. A lot of them are not, to be expected. But, you know, we'll give those an honorary mention anyways.
It was crazy because I mean I was at work and I had so many meetings during the day, and I remember being in a Discord like I remember Shepard Commander was like sending all the links, everything every time stuff was happening, and we didn't get so many blockbuster trades, like no Trocheck move, no Robert Thomas move in the end when we thought that was like a certainty at some point. So I was kind of disappointed overall, but I still think we got some surprises. We'll talk about them, but how would you rate this trade deadline?
So there have been some great trades this year, but the deadline day / I think it's a deadline week at this point, realistically, was pretty underwhelming. Although I feel like in recent years, it's sort of been the same thing. A lot of big moves throughout the year, and then at the deadline, it's just kind of like, oh, okay, you know. I would say this was like a 7 on 10. It wasn't bad. Like, we definitely have some names, questionable destinations as well. But
I was gonna give like a 6 or a 6.5, but
fair enough.
We did get some surprises, like we got Kadri after the deadline. That was a surprise. Like, deadline was over, and then 15 minutes later, they were like, "Oh yeah, by the way, this happened." I know in the middle of the night, the John Carlson one. We'll talk about that too. But no, Trocheck kind of disappointed me. Although I will say, and then we can get into everything. For all you Trocheck owners out there, I know you guys were sympathizing with me in the Discord, but this was probably the best case scenario for him. Like, doesn't move away from the Rangers, keeps the Rangers playoff schedule. He's now arguably the 1C on the team. I think they're just going to run the main line through Trocheck. That's what I'm saying. But line one, power play one, I think, honestly, this was like a trade in itself, the fact that he didn't get moved. So, pretty happy.
Yes. Okay, before we dive in, follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. We are there. Rate us 5 stars if you like what you hear. We're almost at 100 5-star or ratings on Spotify. We have one non 5-star, it seems.
You know who you are. No. We actually don't know who you are, but please let us know so we can find out why.
Subscribe on YouTube, give this video a like if you enjoyed. All the socials are in the podcast description, and be sure to join the Discord community. I know we kind of give this intro, listing the socials and the Discord and everything before, and I will say one great thing I'm realizing is now that we're really down to the wire in our fantasy season, and it's not looking super great for me, even though
it's a tight race.
Our standings are neck and neck. It's super tight all around, but I will say the fact that we have such a great community of followers and listeners and people who we interact with on the Discord, it's really made the whole I don't know if I'm going to make the playoff situation a lot better. And I think I will, because and it's just like tremendously tight. That's it. Like, we're all gonna make it, but it's like from like the top team to the 8th place team in the playoffs. This is the tightest it's ever been in our league because it got super competitive. So
our week 20 is the last fantasy week for us before the playoffs start. So week 21 is the first round of the playoffs, and currently there's only one team that's secured a playoff spot. Like, our league of record is 14 teams, 8 of them make the playoffs. And I think there's like 10 teams right now that are actually in the mix that could all make the playoffs. And then I wouldn't be shocked if any of them win the title this year, which is nuts. Because usually it's just like me, Jake, and Josh. We're like, 3 of the top 4 teams. And then the final is one of the 2 of us.
Yeah.
two out of the three of us usually. So the fact that this year is like so much more competitive, I don't know. Maybe people are listening to banger management.
That's it. That's it. We've gotten a more competitive league, which is what we wanted all along. But it's like that Wario meme: I've won, but at what cost?
Yeah, literally.
That's it. That's it. I'm just still sad about that Celebrini Holloway trade, but not to dive too much into that.
Let's not bring it up. I'm gonna go on a rant.
Yeah, seriously. Let's dive in to the content. So we're gonna list, as mentioned, the top trades, and then we're gonna mention all the
Fantasy
relevant ones, dive
ramifications.
into them. Yeah, exactly, and maybe a few tidbits here and there for them. So let's start with the big ones. We have Nazem Kadri traded to Colorado from Calgary. The full trade here, I guess I'll list the full trade for the top ones.
Mhm.
Colorado gets Nazem Kadri in a 4th-round pick. Calgary gets a 1st, a 2nd, Victor Olofsson, and Max Curran.
Yeah. My instant reaction to this was it felt inevitable when they made the Brett Kulak trade earlier a few weeks ago, or a week at this point. I'm so bad with time. Like the money added up just enough for them to get Kadri. And we thought it was going to happen, even though we were like, okay, I don't know what they're going to give up and where he's going to slot in the lineup necessarily, because McKinnon's line 1, Brock Nelson's line 2. Those are 2 great centers. Are they really going to trade for Kadri to put him line 3? Or is Brock Nelson going to get bumped to line 3? And I think, Jake and I were talking about this. I think probably Kadri's going to play on the wing. And it's going to be like a line 2 winger situation. They'll have to jumble up the lines a little bit. Victor Olofsson going the other way to Calgary. I think he could have some fantasy relevance, but I see him kind of just like a Matt Coronado-esque a little bit, maybe slightly worse, just like lower shot volume. I don't know what his deployment's going to be, but I don't think it's going to be super fantasy relevant unless you're like in a really deep league. But Kadri, even then, I don't know if he slots on a power play 1, even though it's the worst power play in the league. I don't know how much, value to attribute there. But people are like, oh, this is Kadri, must pick up. I'm like, I would brisk walk to pick up Kadri on the waivers. I feel like I'm not dropping a big boy name to the potential of Nazem Kadri in Colorado, because I just don't think there's enough room for him there to have sustained level of production. Like, we were worried about Landeskog not having the deployment all the time, but when he has it, it's great, right? I don't see Kadri being better than line 2 power play 1. And I don't know if that's enough to like have him be at a certain level of value.
Yeah, if he does actually have that, it's pretty good. But at the same time,
but he could easily be line
right?
2 power play 2, and I think if that's the case, I'm probably not interested.
He could. So this is one of those that it's a weird one because he won the Stanley Cup with them as their line 2 center, but because Nelson's just been so good all season, I think there's no way that Kadri's going to take the line 2 C. I'd be very surprised. The other thing that they may do is they may just kind of spread the wealth a little bit more and make a quote-unquote loaded line 3, meaning they keep line 2 as Colton, Nelson, and Nichushkin, and then when Lehkonen comes back, they'll have Nick Waugh, Kadri, and Lehkonen.
That would be the best third line in the league.
Yeah, it would be amazing. Their center depth is ridiculous right now. That's the truth. But you're right. I don't think it makes sense to have traded what they did for Nick Waugh in order to put him as line 4 center.
Exactly.
And at that point, I think that it's likely that Kadri will end up first or second line. Now, he could get first instead of Landeskog. That's not impossible.
It's not
like
impossible.
Landeskog's been a staple. And that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like the power play is because their power play is still not, like surprisingly that good. You would think that it would be huge to have him on power play 1, which I agree. It's a question mark. But if he gets line 1, that's where I'm most excited. Overall, though, I agree. It's not crazy, and I don't think it's impossible for him to play on the wing.
Best case scenario, like you said, is he bumps Landeskog off line 1 power play 1, because he's on power play 1. It's McKinnon, it's Makar, it's Natchez. That's the trio. Brock Nelson has been like one of the only other rotating parts there that has actually stuck around because he's been actually pretty good. That's 4 names. The 5th one is Landeskog. It was Landeskog, Nichushkin, Lehkonen. That was kind of like the rotation there, but Landeskog got stuck.
Yeah.
If Kadri is replacing Landeskog on line 1 power play 1, I'm interested. I just don't think that's going to happen. And if it does happen, I think it's a small likelihood because Landeskog has actually been finding his groove and he's been successful there. So I just don't think they're going to mix things up too much. So, But if you have Kadri on your team, I think I'd be excited just at the potential because he was not really doing much on Calgary before.
Yeah, I'd say my prediction, line 2, power play 2.
That's
That's
my prediction as well.
Yeah. All right, cool. Let's move on to the next one. The Anaheim Ducks acquired John Carlson in exchange for a first-round pick and a third-round pick. I like this one, actually. I think that this is a pretty interesting one.
This might be the best fantasy trade that happened because, first of all, I don't think anybody was on this. There was no rumors of John Carlson getting traded. We also didn't know like where he could be traded if he was. And this broke, I think, at like 11 p.m. at night or close to midnight Eastern time. Caught everybody by surprise. The main question here is, who do you think keeps power play 1? Is it John Carlson? Is it Jackson LaCombe? I know last night they played, and it was the first game Anaheim played. It was trade deadline day. And Jackson LaCombe had a great game. I don't know if you saw his game log, but he had like 2 points. He actually performed really well, but John Carlson wasn't playing yet. So how is it going to be when he's healthy and ready to suit up? First of all, I think 5v5, this is great. I think for the goalie, it's great. I think for the team, it's great. Anaheim is a playoff team for the first time in a long time, and they're making moves to, be better. Love it for them. Love it for the team. It brings a good veteran presence with leadership. But that power play 1, I'm way more interested in Carlson if he is line 1 power play 1.
For sure. Well, the line 1 is that's a whatever. But the power play 1, I just feel like
it could be
really,
LaCombe and Carlson, and that means it's a lot of minutes. And then the power play 1 is the real killer here, because LaCombe hasn't necessarily been exceptional there, right? Like, it's kind of been underwhelming. More riding on name value than actual production. Correct. Funny enough, last night he actually does really well. But it could be, or maybe Carlson is line 2 power play 1. But if he's power play 1, I think he still has it in him. Like, people are going to say, oh, look at Washington, he got bumped off. He's not even that good. He couldn't even keep it on his old team. But like, Chychrun is an elite defenseman. He's also way younger, so I understand it. But I would not hold it against John Carlson to get bumped off by Chychrun. And even when Chychrun was there, John Carlson was on it too at certain points. They were running both guys. I think he can be very successful. And also, I just want to say, we tried to tell you to sell John Carlson the whole season. Like, he was like a must sell at certain points just because the deployment wasn't there, but the production was. If you weren't able to make that happen and you were caught holding the bag, this basically saves your bag. It brings him back to fantasy relevance, in my opinion. So if that happened to you, you should be happy.
So the way I see this, LaCombe's actually been on an absolute tear. It's not just last game. It's like really since the Olympic break. He's been since the Olympic break, he's gotten 1 game without a point, and then one of them he had 2. So mathematically, he's a point per game since the Olympic break.
It's just on all the power plays, production was a little bit lower than you would expect.
Actually, it's not been bad, to tell you the truth.
No, it's been better recently, for sure.
Yeah, like, so 6 games, he's got 3 power play points. He's 0.5 over the last week and a half, 2 weeks since the Olympics. And at the end of the day, I think that that's gonna bode well for the chances of him keeping it. What I like about this is, one, the real life implication. You said that's great.
The implication
for Anaheim, for Anaheim, it's fantastic. And I also think that, look, I mean, even without power play 1, he can still be one of those non-power play 1 decent defensemen to own.
If he doesn't get power play 1, I'm not interested. I'm not
necessarily.
I don't think he's gonna have enough points to do it, and he's not a banger guy either. So,
well, look, he's 91% owned in Yahoo right now.
It's
at the end of the
value,
day, like this to me makes him like, I guess, a bit more attractive than he was on Washington for a large part of the season when he was not getting the power play 1. Like, I think that this trade is good. I don't know. It's one of those that it's kind of up in the air. And I don't think LaCombe has a lock on there, but he has been super good recently, so it's a question mark. It's not one of those, though, like Minnesota trading for Quinn Hughes. They're doing it to make him a certain power play 1 quarterback. That's far from the case. It's still up in the air. But there is a chance that he could see power play 1, and I think that I think that Anaheim is a good place for that.
Also,
Washington,
not ruling it out that both him and LaCombe could be on power play 1. Like, Anaheim has kind of like split units. Like, they just have their talent pretty spread out. Would I be shocked if they run both guys on 1 unit? I would be shocked. I think it's unwise because they have Jacob Trouba quarterbacking on one of the units, and he's just not that guy for that. So I think they're gonna have an elite power play quarterback at both, like LaCombe and Carlson both having their own units. But would I be shocked if they're like, let's just try this out and see how it goes? Just putting it out there.
I think that he has the pedigree of having like been a really good player in his career, so they're going to give him the chance to succeed offensively. I'm actually looking at like his game log, and he has been dealing with some injuries, but overall in the season, he has been good. So maybe slight correction. I don't know if he'll necessarily be as good as he has been on the season, but as we've mentioned on the podcast several times, it's come in waves. So the averages may be a little bit deceiving. I think that he could be, if he gets the chance to be on the power play one, pretty consistent and a good player to own for the rest of the year.
Yep. If you still hold John Carlson, I'd be happy. I think that's the main takeaway.
Like I'm not dropping him. It's the same as Kadri. It's like it doesn't make it glaringly worse, this trade.
If he ends up being line 2, power play 2, I just don't think he's gonna have enough value to be a mainstay on your roster. And then at that point we'll probably suggest cutting. But for the moment, I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. Okay, next one. The New York Islanders trade for Brayden Schenn. St. Louis in return gets a first-round pick, a third-round pick, Jonathan Drouin, and Marcus Gedloff. I think that this can maybe go in the history books as the Drouin trade. That's a
joke. This was a surprising one, to be honest. Like,
it was.
We were following the Blues for so long because we were like, okay, like it's Robert Thomas, it's Binnington. Those are the two big names out there. I streamed Binnington early because I was like, I need to get ahead of it. If he gets traded, I need a goalie. I'm desperate. Binnington doesn't get traded. Robert Thomas doesn't get traded. They're like, he's going to Buffalo, guys. It's over. And then it's just like, actually, Buffalo's not willing to pay. Oh, we're trading Colton Parayko. Actually, he's not moving his no move. He's not moving his no move clause. So a lot of shenanigans happening with St. Louis, but they sold a lot of pieces. They sold and they sold their captain, and now we have to talk about it. But line 2 probably going to be power play 2, and I still view Brayden Schenn the same way I viewed him when he was on St. Louis. He's kind of just like a banger middle 6 forward that is going to be better for bangers leagues because he has the category coverage, and the points are just not an element that I'm necessarily streaming him for. Like, I think they can be there. I think on an Islanders team that's, more prolific, he could be exposed to more points, but it's not something that I'm expecting out of his game. If that makes sense.
So, yeah, I mean, this team is like one of those, if you look at the roster, it's like, why have they been so solid all season? It doesn't really make sense. There's not any certainty at all that he'll get a look on power play 1. It's just not his game. Like you said, he's an enforcer, and the line. What I do like about this for his fantasy outlook as compared to what he's had, coming into this trade deadline, is that now he has the opportunity to get more minutes, and his minutes have been. They've been kind of a little all over the place, sometimes 15, sometimes 18. So I think that's like a solid difference,
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, if he does play a lot, which I think that they traded for him so he could be the line 2 center.
Yep.
So I think it could bode well for his banger categories. And it's not bad. I mean, it's not that exciting, but I think it's one of those similar theme to the Kadri and John Carlson one. If you own him, you're not unhappy with this at all. I will say 2 more small tidbits, and then I'll let you chime in here. When a player gets traded to another team during the season, it's like ambiguous.
Mm-hmm.
Kadri has played on the Avalanche, so I think that could be good.
Yep.
Carlson, if he gets the opportunity, could be fun. Brayden Schenn is a banger guy. He's not a points guy, so I think that that can translate well, and if he has the minutes, it could be good here. And not exactly relevant to this trade, but kind of the last 3 Stanley Cup winners all had the captain from the previous team get traded to that new team.
So you're saying the Islanders are going to win the Stanley Cup?
I'm saying the Islanders.
We should make this a betting podcast now.
Or the Wild. Or the Wild, because they got Quinn Hughes and Nick Foligno. So.
True. The Wild,
interesting.
I mean, I think Josh and I, on the last mailbag episode, it was one of the ones that you ended up missing, Jakey, but we had a question that people asked, like, who's your Stanley Cup prediction right now? And we both said the Wild.
Wow.
So it was the Wild from
That's
the West,
exciting.
and I think I said Tampa from the East. I forget who Josh said. I think Josh also agreed Tampa. But I can see that the Wild they made so many depth moves this trade deadline to kind of just like shore up their bottom 6 and just make themselves more well-rounded, and they have a lot of top end talent. But last thing on Brayden Schenn, would I be shocked if he got power play 1 exposure? No, the Islanders kind of like really split their units just talent-wise. You know the unit with Schaefer is going to be the first unit. That's basically a given. So there's the Horvat, Barzal, Schaefer trio that's there, and then the two other pieces always kind of like rotate. You would think it'd be some of their better players, but right now it's like Holmstrom and Callum Ritchie. So would I be shocked if Schenn gets a look at one of those spots? Maybe he plays some net front. I would not be shocked. So if that actually happens, he could be way more valuable even in bangers leagues. But he's a guy that's going to get you shots, hits, face-off wins, some blocks, and that's like elite category coverage there for a guy that's what you want from. So.
Yep. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Detroit Red Wings trade for Justin Faulk. In return, St. Louis gets a first, a third, and Justin Hull. Justin for Justin.
Yes.
All right, I'm curious about what you think about this one. This is an interesting one in my mind.
There's a lot of ways that this could go. So obviously St. Louis loses their power play quarterback. We talked about this before as a possibility earlier on the podcast a few weeks ago when we started hearing Justin Faulk's name out there. So first of all, I'm monitoring who's going to be that power play one quarterback for St. Louis because I think they get a bump in value. Might be Parayko, might be Ken Fowler again, might be Broberg. We'll see how it goes. Now to Detroit. Do I think Justin Faulk will be power play one on Detroit? Is he going to, take over from Moritz Seider? It's in the range of outcomes. I will say right now I'm leaning unlikely. I think Faulk ends up being the power play 2 quarterback. I'm more interested also because that's the first domino. It's like power play 1. Do we think yes or no? If he is the power play 1 quarterback, he gets a significant boost in value, guys. So if Justin Faulk is on your waivers, I would try to go pick him up. I'd be proactive about it. If by the time you're listening to this, he's still available, I'd probably cut your worst defenseman to take a chance on Justin Faulk if he's available. It might just be he's line 2, power play 2 or whatever, and he doesn't end up being valuable. You cut him at that point. But the chance that he can be power play 1 on this Detroit power play unit, I'm taking the chance. Would hurt Seider's value. Now the next thing that I need to mention is I'm an owner of Edvinsson and Sherratt on my League of Record team. I got 2 bangers D from this team. I'm basically thinking, okay, where does Faulk slot into the lineup? How does that affect the minutes of these other players? So if they play less minutes, their bangers get worse, less valuable as a whole, and just become a stream. So those are the things that I'm monitoring. But I really like this for Detroit. I think they made an excellent trade. I would have hoped they were in for the Robert Thomas, they were in for the Trocheks. Those moves could have made them like title contenders. I think the teams around them got better and they kind of stayed stagnant or a little bit better. So if I'm a Detroit player like a Dylan Larkin, I'm a little bit upset. My GM at the trade deadline being like, I thought this was the year we're actually making a push. Nothing happened. What gives? So what do you think?
So for the St. Louis Blues, I think that it's one of those that it's we said this coming into the trade deadline that basically if the veterans gets traded, that what's going to happen is that the young guys are just going to have the opportunity to kind of play and make mistakes and learn and stuff like that. So I think that for whoever gets the power play 1 there, it's a decent opportunity on an exciting team. And by exciting, I don't mean that they're going to be good. I just mean that they could have some like good fantasy assets that are kind of flying under the radar. I wouldn't be surprised, and I'm a little biased saying this because I picked him up. Maybe Logan Mailloux gets a look on power play 1.
He might. He might.
It's not impossible, and that would be pretty fun.
My odds-on favorite, I think, is Fowler, just because we've seen him be there before. But St. Louis is not a team that's trying to win right now. Do they give Mailloux a look there? Absolutely could.
Yeah, and he should be like their number 1 defenseman moving forward.
They traded Bolduc for him.
They're hoping for. Exactly. So that's what I think about St. Louis. Now, I think there's a few parallels between Detroit acquiring Faulk and the Ducks acquiring Carlson, except I think that Detroit has better offensive defensemen that Faulk would have to beat out in order to get power play 1 there. So Seider is the obvious, choice. He is there right now. And then Edvinsson and maybe even Sandin Pellikka, that's scarier to me than Carlson trying to beat out Lacombe and Minchikov is their second best.
No, he's never run that unit.
So that's kind of the way I see it, is that for Carlson to actually get that, it's a little bit more likely, and for Faulk to get power play 1, it's less promising. So from a fantasy perspective, I don't love this really. I think that this makes Faulk's value drop decently, and I do like it for Detroit though. Overall, I guess I'll kind of take the other side of the coin here, is that now they have a pretty solid decor and could maybe make a decent push.
My expectation is I think the line 1 on the decor with Seider and Edvinsson stays the same, and then I think line 2 is going to be Sherrod and Faulk, and then Bernard Docker would get bumped down, whether he stays in the lineup or not, or if it's Johansson or Sandin Pelinka that gets bumped off. I think that's probably the most likely case. And I mean, I think we'll have to wait and see how the practice lines shake out, where Faulk ends up. I think Faulk goes to power play 2, but if he gets to power play 1, he might be one of the guys that may have the best fantasy value after this trade deadline. Talking about guys that gets traded.
Absolutely. I mean, Seider is the most likely one to keep it, only because he literally never misses a game, which is absolutely insane. I think he's played every game in his career so far, which is extremely impressive. And also, like I was gonna say, this could be a good move, let's say for injury insurance or whatever. Similar, if Lane Hudson gets hurt, then you got Dobson who's able to play there. But Seider doesn't. Like he's just indestructible. So I don't know. I think that this is a good move for Detroit as a team. I don't love it for fantasy for Faulk. Okay, this one I do like though. This one's really fun. The Utah Mammoth acquire MacKenzie Weegar in exchange for a third, a second, Olli Mata, and Jonathan Castagna.
Not related to lasagna.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a bad joke.
That's an important preface before we dive into this. So as much as I think that, well, I mean, look, Sergachev's actually hurt now, so there's that. He's day to day. We're gonna dive into that a little bit later on in the episode. Sean Durzee's the power play 1 there. In the meantime, I think that if this is a long-term thing for Sergachev, hopefully it's not because I own him, but whatever. I think that that Weegar would slot on the power play 1 with Sergachev back. I really don't know, but I don't think it's impossible. And I just think that Weegar's proved to be a tremendous fantasy asset in his career. In a bangers league, I liked him. I liked him every year except for this year, pretty much, since he started becoming good on Florida. So this could be one of those where it's a good opportunity for him to kind of be Weegar of old in a sense and get back to maybe if he has power play 1, 0.5 with 2 shots, 2 hits, 2 blocks, and that'd be great. 0.5 points to clarify.
I mean, that's the thing with Weegar, right? He was arguably the worst, top 5 defenseman pick in banger league drafts this year, right? Because he did not live up to the value at all. He was a guy that, you drafted to be a banger stud with, power play 1 on a team that is probably below average, but not the worst team in the league. They were arguably one of the worst teams in the league this season. He didn't even hold the power play 1 spot for a long time. The bangers weren't always consistent. So I think Weegar had his worst fantasy season. He held name value way more than actual production for way longer than he was supposed to. Bolt was going down. I think Bolt goes back up after this. But I think you have to temper your expectations, whichever one you should do is that's the one that you have to do. I don't think he gets power play 1. I think Sergachev is the guy. I think Durzee is the guy ahead of him. I think he'd be third in the pecking order. Absolutely.
Okay.
He couldn't even hold it on Calgary, and Calgary has an abysmal power play. So I think, Utah's power play is second worst to Colorado. I don't think this is the power play move they were trying to make.
Yeah.
I'm just happy that I think he's going to get good ice time. I think his bangers could be better. There's a world where that happens. But I just think you're going to get kind of like MacKenzie Weegar of old. It just helps Utah a lot for their playoff push and their success. It really helps their defensive core. I think the question here is more so, are you interested in the next guy up in Calgary? And everybody was rushing to pick up Zane Parekh. And I was like, whoa, hold your horses here. I get it. We're always interested in the new power play 1 quarterback on the block. So you have to, first of all, you have to know who it is, lock on, evaluate. Now I'm okay, Parekh is a rookie. So first of all, we don't know how high his ceiling is, what his potential is. We saw it with Schaefer. We could be Islanders are $$sign. But then Schaefer comes in and everything is different. Is Parekh the same type of player? I think he has a lot of potential. I don't think he's a Schaefer type of guy. He doesn't have the category coverage. Exactly, he's not. He doesn't have the category coverage. Calgary is not a good power play. There's not a lot of talent around him. I think he's the type of guy that you're going to pick up being like, okay, like I have the power play 1 quarterback for Calgary, and he's never going to live up to what you want him to give you this season. I would not, I don't want to say I wouldn't waste my time picking him up. If you have the luxury of taking the chance on him, I would, but I don't think he's going to be the guy that's going to help you on your fantasy team for this playoff push. That's my take. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm putting it out there. Maybe he is the guy that elevates everybody around him and makes it successful. It's a possibility. I just think that it's so low that I'm not risking, my valuable waiver wire moves at this point in the season on him.
Yeah. So Parekh is not going to be that good this year. I'm confident in saying that. He's had 17 games so far this season. He has a point. Schaefer, on the other hand, is an absolute generational defenseman who I think is literally going to be like, it's like, so I know that there's kind of a trend in that, defensemen who are 20, 21 years old, which is young for a defenseman, can actually be good in the NHL. This is not something that was always the case, but it's kind of become a reality. But halfway through the season on an already horrible team, yes, he had an incredible World Juniors. There's no doubt about it, but I really don't think that. Like, I think they're going to keep him on power play 1, which is good, but I don't expect it to be anything crazy just because Calgary is in a bad spot. As far as the Weegar side of it, the silver lining of this trade, I would say it's not even really a silver lining. It's just more like I like his floor here because on Florida, and yes, this is like, 4 years ago or whatever, and the game has changed and stuff, and we're now power play defensemen are even more valuable than they've ever been. But he was not always power play 1, and he was still really good. So I think he's the type of guy that can be a very decent player on your fantasy team without power play 1. You said you don't want Jarl Carlson unless he's not power play 1. I get it. But Weegar, even if he's not there, I think he could be really solid for shots, hits, and blocks. In a points league, way less interested. But a bangers league, I think that this is an opportunity for him to get back to like classic Weegar that you like.
I agree with you. I think we're saying the same thing because I think Weegar, he's already good at shots, hits, and blocks. Like he averages over 2 shots, over 2 hits, over 2 blocks. It's exceptional. But Darnell Nurse does that too. There's other guys that get close to doing that. The reason Weegar gets drafted so high is because he's also on power play 1 and has that exposure, right? He'll get you like 0.25 power play points, slightly over 0.5 points, between 0.5 and 0.6, and that gives him the edge over all these other guys that are just doing the bangers. But this season, he wasn't doing that. He wasn't even hitting 0.1 power play points, and the points were just not even there. And that's why everybody was disappointed, because the reason that he was better than a Darnell Nurse was that power play exposure. I don't think he's getting that power play exposure on Utah either. So I think it's just going to be the same, MacKenzie Weegar that we love, that gets 2 shots, 2 hits, 2 blocks. And he has a high ceiling in all of those. Like he can hit you 7 hits or 7 blocks in any given game. I just don't think the power play exposure is there. And I think that's why I think it's kind of like a lateral move for his fantasy value, but better for Utah and their aspirations and stuff. So,
yeah, that's fair. I guess I see where you're coming from. It could be that the points are just not going to be what they were last season, and the power play points for a defenseman were tremendous. Actually,
yeah, it's
like
nice. That's why he was so exceptional.
Exactly, but I do think. So you think overall, though, is this like a sign of better things to come for him, or
I think he's
not?
playing on a better team.
Yeah.
So I expect, he might be able to do better bangers, but it's the time of ice the question. Like if he might not be line 1, he could be a line 2 and be power play 2, or line 2 and not even on the power play because they have Sergachev running the first unit and Durzi running the second. Like it's just about the time of ice that's the question to me. But if you're trading for MacKenzie Weegar, I think he has a lot of pedigree, and I think they might play him in the important minutes. So he might be like a integral PK guy, and maybe 5-on-5. Maybe they do put him line 1, and he's playing the big minutes. So I'd be curious to see where his banger level shakes out.
Yeah,
but I think it's probably going to be more of the same.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. All right, and I'd say this is one of the last big ones over here for trades.
Yep.
The Seattle Kraken acquire Bobby McMann in exchange for a 2nd and a 4th round pick. Okay.
Toronto does not get the first that they wanted. We always heard, give us a first for Bobby McMann, and people were like, no.
Yeah, so first thing I will say here for the Seattle Kraken commentators, I'm sorry that now you have to distinguish between McCann and McMann. That's
That's
gonna be
crazy.
confusing. That's gonna I yeah, I really think that that's gonna be a bit of a difficult one for them, especially like I mean McMahon. Wait, I don't remember exact. Yeah,
What
do you know what number he was, McMahon? I
on?
can't think of it off the top of my head on Toronto.
I cannot think of it off the top of my head either.
Anyway, I think anyway, whatever it
I'll
was.
look it up.
Jared McCann is 19. So if he goes like 29 or something like that, that's going to be an absolute disaster. But all this to say that the more the more relevant for your fantasy leagues,
74. Does that make sense?
74. Okay, yes, it is. That's what it was. Okay, so that's a far cry from 19. So hopefully they're going to be okay.
He's gonna be. I'm gonna
But
be
just to
number
say,
18.
yeah, we sympathize with the Seattle Kraken commentators because it's that's close, McCann and McMahon.
Definitely very
Okay,
close.
now on to the trade part of it. I guess I'm gonna just take a look at Toronto here first. I think that McMahon was actually having a very solid season.
Mhm.
He wasn't really power play one at any point,
No,
or but so I think that as far as that goes, the traditional way of looking at this, that's okay for the Toronto assets. Now, does this make them actually worse because he was a decent player for them? I don't think so, but I definitely don't think it makes them better. I guess the one beneficiary here is that hopefully Easton Cowan, they actually give him some opportunity to stay in the lineup and to play on line too, and I think that could be good.
I think the main thing from this is on Seattle. Where do you think he's going to line up? Because we know
Yeah,
we know that McMahon can be a double guy. He's a guy that's going to get you some shots, some his exposure, and for a guy that's very low rostered in fantasy leagues, he's actually pretty good at that. But this is, I don't want to say not exciting to me, but Seattle's already a team full of middle six wingers, and they just traded for another one. They wanted,
yeah,
they were in the Panarin sweepstakes, and it didn't happen. That would have been like a really big, give us that superstar winger that we can build our team around. They just have another Eberle, another Tolvanen, Schwartz. Like, he's just
yeah,
throw another name in the bucket and it's Bobby McMann. So
yeah,
I think he's going to end up being line two, power play two is my guess. He could be line three, power play two. He could be line three, power play one. Like, that's kind of like the range. I just don't think he's going to slot on line one. Um, so I think it's gonna be similar value to what he was on Toronto, maybe slightly more minutes, and that makes him slightly more valuable. I
yeah.
think it's fun for bangers leagues that need that double coverage. But besides that, he doesn't become a game breaker now. He's just something that you're interested in, and maybe he gets slightly more minutes, and that helps.
Yeah, I think the only thing is that it was shots hits that made him a good player to
Yep.
own in Toronto, and he's gonna keep up the shots and hits. As far as where he's gonna go, like I really have no idea. With looking at this, I mean, like unless maybe he could play center and nobody knows about it, like then maybe there's room on line too. But otherwise, like I mean, Tolvanen's had really good production this year. Maybe he can bump Berkeley Catton off, but I mean, I think that Catton's also like a good up and coming player, and they're gonna wanna make sure that he has the opportunity. But with Seattle fighting for a playoff spot, I guess the most likely scenario is that Catton's just kind of in and out of the lineup, and McMahon's gonna go line three. So
I think that's what
definitely
it
not
is.
that exciting. Yeah, definitely not that exciting. But to be able to have a shots hits guy, on your team is nice, but it's not the destination you were hoping for to actually bring out some more offensive potential.
All right, let's blow through some of these next ones. If they're not super fantasy
Yes.
relevant, we'll just like say the trade and we'll move on. If it is
Yeah.
fantasy relevant, we'll give a little tidbit. But
Yeah.
those are the big guys that were like most of the players are
Yeah.
fantasy relevant.
Yeah, and unless it's like a first round pick, I'm not really gonna say all the picks in exchange because
Yeah,
it's
that's
just gonna
fine.
be a lot of words. Okay. Buffalo Sabres acquire Luke Schenn and Logan Stanley. Winnipeg gets a second plus in return.
Yep. I think this is
Anything really, or
the only
yeah,
thing is their decor is now like average height is like 6'5". I don't know if you saw, but it's like everybody's like they got some 6'7s, they got some 6'1s, 6'7. But I think Logan Stanley will be in the lineup. I think Schenn will be the guy that's like in and out of the lineup. So if you were streaming him for some hits and blocks like I was in another league, probably not relevant anymore. For Buffalo, they wanted Parayko. I don't know. You said they got the big swing. He didn't move to go there. So disappointing, but Buffalo is already one of the best teams in the league right now, so they're gonna be a fun team to watch in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anyone heard our predictions in the offseason, but we absolutely chose Buffalo to beat out Florida considerably in the Atlantic. That totally happened.
Like everybody else, right?
No, this is so surprising, but I will say the only thing to add here is that this is just like, like offense wins games, but defense wins championships.
Yes.
Like, this is exactly what they're trying to do.
Their decor is loaded, and they put so much stock into it.
Yeah. All right. Next, Colorado gets Nick Roy in exchange for a first-round pick plus. Interesting here because, I mean, we spoke about this. We don't have to dive into it, but the fact that he got it first, that's what makes it seem to us that he's going to be a staple on that line 3 center. Yep. They're not going to put him on line 4 if they gave a first.
He's just a good bottom 6 center to have. Like, arguably, I would say like one of the more talented like line 3 Cs you can have. He's got some potential to him. Like, if he was put in a better role, like in a top 6 role, I think he could thrive. He's done it in the past. But this is just like a watch list guy, and maybe he becomes an injury replacement somewhere in the lineup if they do get banged up more often. But yeah, I like Nick Roy, the player. But this trade just makes Colorado an even stronger championship contender.
Yep. Next, Edmonton acquires Jason Dickinson and Colton Dach. They gave a first and Mangiapane for this.
Arguably the worst trade of the trade deadline.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mangiapane could at least stay in the lineup on Chicago.
He couldn't even stay in the lineup on Edmonton. You guys cooked.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Chicago's less good, so it's like, okay. But Colton Dach hits, and I think that's the other, like, I don't know. I don't think he's going to even play, really. Like,
he hits. They were saying Jason Dickinson is like one of the best, like, shutdown centers in the entire NHL. So basically, Edmonton traded like a first-round pick to, get a guy that's going to be able to play like top PK minutes for them and really shore up their, penalty kill. I think that's also why they traded for Connor Murphy, potentially. Right. But yeah, fantasy-wise, this is not relevant. I think Edmonton could have done way better with the assets they did give up this trade cycle. The whole Tristan Jarry thing was a whole debacle. We're not going to get into it again, but I was right and Moment was wrong. So I don't know how long he lasts. I think he's getting fired after this year. But if they knew what was good for them, they would do it. But alas, they might not. And they have no more assets to give for anything anymore. So
yeah,
good job, Edmonton Oilers.
Next one, Vegas acquires Nick Dowd in exchange for a second-round pick. Plus, really not much to say here.
The most fantasy relevant thing that you can say here is that Nick Dowd played his last game for Washington against my fantasy team, and he dropped 10 hits against me. So, yeah, that's all. 10 hits from Nick Dowd. I think he's averaged like 1.5.
Mathieu Olivier, is it you?
Oh, let's not get into Olivier. Thank God Josh is not here because the Olivier curse is real. We have to make like t-shirts about that or something.
Yeah. Okay. Columbus acquires Connor Garland in exchange for a second-round pick. Plus, this is kind of interesting, actually. I know you said you wanted to dive into this a bit.
I mean, we just saw Marchment get hurt. They did imaging on Marchment, and they were like, okay, like it's not as bad as we thought. He's day-to-day for now. Connor Garland, I think, has been a guy that like, on Vancouver has been the most, I would say, like effort giver, if that's even a terminology I could use, effort giver. But he's a good player. He's a good player. He tries hard. He gives a lot. I think on Columbus, he's really going to succeed under bonus. So I'm monitoring this. This is like watch list for me. He could end up in a really good role given the injuries that they currently have. But I think he's going to be a top 6 guy with potential power play 1 exposure, most likely power play 2. But I think he could have fantasy value. Even in like 12 leagues that are deep, he could be a fantasy relevant guy. So keeping my eye on it.
Yeah, I agree there. I guess one quick follow-up here. If Marchment is to miss time, do you think it's going to be Garland or Monahan who gets the power play 1?
I think it'll be Garland getting line 1, power play 1.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that's possible. And if that happens,
I might be wrong,
by the way,
that's my guess.
If that does happen, this is maybe the best fantasy trade of the NHL trade deadline. Like this is maybe like the most fantasy relevant one. If that
Yeah.
happens, like that'd be tremendous. So, okay, next, Dallas acquires Tyler Myers in exchange for a 2nd-round pick and a 4th-round pick.
Not fantasy relevant.
Yeah, he's tall.
Maybe
Okay.
maybe you'll stream him for blocks here and there if they have a
Yeah.
good run of games for your specific
much.
team, but that's it.
Yeah. Okay. Tampa Bay is officially losing in the Stanley Cup
Yes.
finals because they acquired Corey Perry for a 2nd-round pick.
This was a surprise.
I don't know. Yeah, it was a surprise actually. I mean,
We had Saravelli be like, all right, officially, Corey Perry is off the market. He is going to re-sign in LA, and then like he gets moved like I think a day later or a few hours later.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, this just makes him worse because there's no way he cracks power play 1.
I will say there's a chance Corey Perry takes the Bjorkstrand spot on power play 1. I know Hagel's
You
been
think so?
the guy there, but Perry is the guy that knows what to do in front of the net. I would not be
Yeah.
surprised if they actually try that.
That'd be pretty cool.
That's the only way I see him having any fantasy value, because the rest is just going to be like a bottom 6 guy that's playing like probably power play 2, and that's it. Like same kind of thing, like worse than he was on LA, because at least LA he was getting power play 1 exposure for sure. So
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't know if he gets that power play 1 even for a few games. Like that is fun.
that would be fun.
Yeah, that's but I wouldn't count on that being like a mainstay. Like it's like if Connor Garland gets power play 1, tremendous. If Corey Perry gets it, it's like okay, like maybe he'll stay on for a game or 2, but like I doubt he's like going to be rest of the season power play 1.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it shakes out.
All right, Ottawa acquires Warren Fogle for a 2nd.
He's just like another Zetterland. Not much to write home about here.
Tremendous, super good looking, and very cool. Okay. Anyway, Vegas acquires Cole Smith for a 3rd plus.
He has some banger to him, but nothing's moving the needle here.
Yeah. Buffalo acquires Sam Carrick for a 3rd plus. Same story.
Yep.
Kind of banger. Yeah.
These
LA
are just
Kings
like
get
depth moves.
Yeah. LA Kings acquire Scott Lawton for a 3rd. Anything there? I mean, Scott Lawton's
been like a face-off wins league darling, because he's like winger eligible and good on the power on the penalty kill. So he could have some exposure there. I think he'll be a bottom 6 guy that gets you penalty kill exposure. Maybe he'll get you some shorties if you have that, but I'm not picking him up just for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Okay, next we have Elmer Soderblom to Pittsburgh for a 3rd.
Nothing fantasy relevant here.
Michael Bunting to Dallas for a 3rd. It could be.
I know you like Bunting, but I think his best days are behind him.
Yeah, I guess with how loaded and deep Dallas's lineup is already, there's pretty much no way that he's going to be fantasy relevant. Next, this one actually could be huge IRL, but for this year I think it's fantasy irrelevant. Or sorry, let me rephrase. Irrelevant for fantasy. Minnesota acquires Bobby Brink in exchange for David Jiricek.
The fall of David Jiricek needs to be studied. What happened there, first of all?
I don't even know. I don't even know. He had so much hype and just has not been able to succeed anywhere. So I mean I think that Bobby Brink is actually a pretty good player.
Mm-hmm. He actually is a good player.
Yeah, and you know what? I don't even know if it's necessarily fantasy irrelevant 100%, because right now they got him slotted in on that 2nd line with Boldy and Eric Sennecke. That could be pretty good.
Yeah.
Actually, is he available in our league? Let me just
Yes, he is available in our league. I just think the minutes are not going to be there, because I don't expect him to get much special teams time. So even with the line 2, that I don't even know if it's going to stick, I think it's going to average around 13, 14 minutes, and I don't think that's enough to be fantasy relevant. In the past, he's had some, shots hits combo to him that made him kind of stream worthy, but I just don't know if that's going to be sustainable on Minnesota. So I think it's more of like a better NHL move than a fantasy move, but you never know with how things shake out.
Yeah, and then David Jiricek, I mean, I don't know if he's going to have like a spot in the lineup there.
I don't even want to talk about him because he's so bad.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Next, David Perron to Detroit. He's played there before. Maybe he'll be okay. Timothy Liljegren to Washington. Then we have Blankenberg to Colorado. David Kampf to Washington. And these are all for like 4th, 5th, and 6th round picks, by the way. Lucas Reichel to Boston. Maybe there could be something there one day. But
put him on your watch list. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, exactly. Tanner Pearson to Buffalo. Nick Delorier to Carolina.
Like the most Carolina move you can make, feels like.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, this is like one of those things where it's like
pick for Nick Delorier.
Nick Delorier will have more success in Carolina than Mikko Rantanen. There's your headline.
Clip
all right,
that.
Minnesota acquires Jeff Petrie. Nah, I think his best days are behind him.
Yeah. You definitely can't trade him for Panarin this season.
Yeah, Ryan Strome. Yeah, there you go. Sorry, I was focused on the next one already, but yeah, that was. Still can't believe that actually happened. Okay, Ryan Strome to Calgary, Nick Foligno to Minnesota. Kind of cool brotherly reunion over there. That's interesting.
That one I will say, like on Chicago, he's had some points of time where he's been like a good like shots, face-off wins, hits, blocks type of player with some PIMs, and depending on the exposure, he can get you some power play points. Minnesota's role is going to be like third line, kind of enforcer C. He's going to play like a shutdown role. That third line is going to be Nick Foligno, Michael McCarron, and Marcus Foligno, and that's just going to be a line that you do not want to play against in the real NHL because that's going to be brutal for your bodies. So I see him as like kind of like a Brayden Schenn light where he can hit all those categories, but it won't be like for as high levels. So just if you're in a deep like 14-team league that has like all the categories like our league of record, he might have some value.
Yeah,
might is doing a lot of heavy lifting.
I really think Minnesota is going to be such a wagon going.
They're a strong team. It would be an upset if they got like bounced in the first round.
Yeah. Okay. Next we have Vinny Hinostroza to Florida. By the way, Foligno and Hinostroza, that's for future considerations. It's not even for a pick.
Man, the guy's getting traded everywhere. Future considerations.
Yeah, exactly.
His parents must be so proud.
So funny. All right. San Jose acquires Jet Wu, Vancouver in exchange
podcast staple, baby. We mention him every episode.
Yeah, exactly. We talk about him all the time. In exchange for Jack Thompson to Vancouver. That's really good. All right, you're on a roll.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, Chicago acquires Derek Pulio and they send Aiden Thompson to New York Rangers.
Those are all the trades. Like we said, the top ones were kind of fantasy relevant, but we didn't get the blockbusters. No Trocheck, no Robert Thomas, no Jordan Kyrou, no Binnington, no Bobrovsky. Disappointing, but I guess maybe we'll see some moves in the offseason.
Yeah. Okay, now we got some big signings from this past week. We could also go through these a little quick, and of course, dive into the. I think the top two are kind of relevant. Actually, Kiefer Sherwood, 5 times 5.75, so 5 years for 5.75 million. I think he wanted 6 million, so this is like I guess a compromise. He could be very good on the Sharks. We'll see how it shakes out. Yeah,
he was exciting because we saw him get like line 1 power play 1 for a little bit. Then he lost that deployment right away, and then they were like, okay, we're shopping this guy because we can't sign him long term, and then he ends up signing long term. So happy to have him on the Sharks. I think it helps Celebrini and the team. I mean, they're gonna make a playoff push for this year as well, so that's fun for them.
Yeah,
and I mean, I think Sherwood you can expect the same old.
Since he got healthy, from February 4th to March 6th, okay, these are his hits. 4, 8, 2, 9, 5, 8. What? And his shots have been tremendous as well.
His shots have been good, and he's a guy that gets you some PIMs too. So if you play in a PIMs league, he's hitting that too.
Yeah, and like any points are just the cherry on top. So good to know that his hits have stayed very much alive in San Jose. Next, we got Jordan Eberle, 2 years, 5.5 million.
Oh, captain, my captain.
That's
a lot of money for a guy of his age, I think. But it's only 2 years, so it's fine.
Yeah,
I think this is just the prototypical middle six winger at this point. So
yeah, he's had a tremendous year
though. Seattle.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say tremendous year compared to what he's done like previously. He's been very decent.
For what your expectations are, he's overperforming.
Yeah, that's a better way to put it. Yes. But yeah, he's done well. So I actually think he kind of deserves this. Like I don't know if it's necessarily an overpay, but for fantasy, like he will continue playing on Seattle, and I would expect the same. More of the same rest of the season. JG Pageau, 3 years, 4.85 million.
Category darling.
Yeah, and I don't think that this signing necessarily means in any way, shape, or form that he'll be line 2 center over Schenn. I still think it's going to be Schenn
No.
line 2.
Yeah, I think this is just signing him long term because they love him as a line 3C, and he's an excellent line 3C and penalty killer.
Yeah. Then we got Alex Nedeljkovic, 2 years, $3 million.
When this happened, I was like, all right, are they moving Askarov somewhere? But nah, I think it's just they're shoring up their backup position. They've liked what they've seen from Nedeljkovic this season, and they're happy with him being the backup for the next few years.
Yeah. Okay, and then Ryan Poehling, 4 years, $3.75 million. This one was kind of interesting. I was surprised.
Yeah, I was surprised too. But I guess depth, piece for the Ducks, and they're happy with him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there was one point in time where Ryan Poehling had the most points per game of any player to have ever played in the NHL because he played one game with the Habs and got 4 points. And then it has never been the same.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be the next Gretzky, didn't you?
That happens to you a lot, I think. Gusev, Poehling. I'm kidding.
Zetterland. All right, moving on. Here are the injuries currently going on. A lot of day-to-days, but some ambiguous situations. So Ryan O'Reilly is currently day-to-day. Eric Holla likely to replace him on power play 1 in the meantime.
Did you see what happened to him? They took a face off and he kind of face planted. I don't know how exactly that happened, but he got something to his face, but it was more minor than you anticipated. So I think he might miss a game or two, and that's pretty much it. I think it was well timed with the deadline. They were like, all right, we can hold him out and maybe we get a deal done, but he's still on Nashville.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's really good this season. So I mean, if he misses any time, that's a big blow to your fantasy team. Otherwise, not much to add there. There's no it's not necessarily that he's going to be out for a while. But Marchment, who is currently day to day, that we spoke about already, Sean Monahan or Connor Garland. We both think Connor Garland. I'd be curious to know what Josh thinks about this actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, if he misses, there is a chance he misses time. You were saying, right?
Yeah, Marchment, it was ambiguous. They did some imaging on him, and it came back negative, which was good news. We just don't know how severe the injury is either way. So it's a day-to-day thing, but it might end up being one of those day-to-days that ends up being week-to-week, especially for them leading into the playoffs. I think this really helps Connor Garland. They just traded for him. He can be the same type of player as Marchment. So it would be a straight swap in my eyes. But for all those guys that were, holding Marchment, I think I would be easily cutting and just replacing with the next guy up. So,
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and I guess they have 2 spots on power play 1 potentially open right now because Charlie Coyle is also being held out of the lineup on Saturday.
I think it was really just he might miss 1 game. So by the time you're listening to this, he might already be back.
Yeah, he's been so good.
He's insane.
Ridiculous. Actually, what you want for fantasy. This is I hope to get this out of Austin Matthews rest of the season. Actually,
we keep
nuts.
telling y'all to pick up Charlie Coyle, so hopefully you guys are, because he is bringing a lot of fantasy success right now.
Yeah, if you're in a bangers league with faceoffs, there's no way he should be on for free agency anymore.
It's nuts.
He has to be, or waivers.
Who could have expected this? A coaching change to make the line 3 center insane. Nuts.
Yeah. No, this is a must pick up. Anyway, but he is currently hurt, so if it's short term, of course. Yeah, I think the main idea here is that if any of them miss time, I think Garland's the one with the opportunity. If both miss time, it'll be Sean Monahan and Garland as the replacement, but I think Garland is the more relevant one. Roope Hintz, day-to-day, Jamie Benn to take his spot on power play 1. I still think Maverick Bork is an awesome dude, but I don't think he's gonna get it there.
Sucks for Roope because he had not played since the Olympics. He was quote unquote illness for 4 games, and then the one game he comes back, he gets hurt in it. So we'll have to see. We do not have any information right now on how severe the injury is or what it looks like. So we'll have to see. But Roope Hintz, Kara corrected us,
yes,
saying it's a Roope Hintz. I have the bad habit of saying Roope, so I'm really sorry. So Roope Hintz, he's known to be a little squishy. So I will say, would I be surprised if Dallas is just all right, we do not want to risk our playoff integrity. Let's just kind of be careful with this guy, and they shut him down. And that would be even better for Matt Duchene. It would be even better for Jamie Benn, who played in an elevated role, can deliver. So I'd monitor this closely.
Yeah. Yes, well said. Then Shane Gostisbehere day-to-day. Nikishin's likely to be the replacement over there. This sucks. I have Gostisbehere. I'm mad.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. I mean, talk about squishy. He's always potentially there's always a chance that Gostisbehere's hurt, which is sad, but he's been so good this year when healthy.
He's been insane. Like, that was actually one of your best fantasy trades this year. Like, earlier this year was really, really good for you, I think.
Yeah.
But Nikishin, I mean, he kind of fell off the face of the earth. Like, he was a big name earlier in this season. You talked about a lot. Then kind of fell off. Now we'll see if he becomes relevant again. They could play anybody else in that power play one if Gostisbehere is out. Like, we've seen Keandre Miller there before. So we'll have to monitor how that goes. But Gostisbehere, like, you IR plus him, hopefully. I'm not dropping until we have a clear picture on his timeline.
Yeah, same. Sad. Okay.
Yeah.
Next, Mikhail Sergachev, also on my team. Day-to-day, Dursey or Weegar. I think, I know you said Dursey. I think I'm saying Weegar, but I guess Dursey's already played on this power play one. He kind of knows the ropes, and we'll see. But I mean, they just acquired Weegar. They gave up a decent return to get him, so I think they'll give him the shot there.
Weegar couldn't even hold down the Calgary power play one the whole season. Like, he's gonna hold down a quote unquote more important unit. I just don't see it. But it's not impossible. They traded for him, maybe they give him a look. But Sergachev, I don't think it's long term. Like, they didn't give us too much information either. It was kind of like a surprise that he was missing time. It was like, oh, he'll be a game time decision, then he's not going to play. So my assumption is that it's going to be day to day. So maybe he only misses 1, 2, or 3 games, and then he's back.
Yeah. Okay. Detroit. Dylan Larkin is day to day. To take his spot on power play one, probably JVR. On line one, though, I actually think that maybe Casper can get a look, so that can be an interesting game or two to be a Casper owner if Larkin does miss any time.
They might put Casper. They could put Comfer, like one of those guys, one of the Furs.
No, it's not Casper.
One of the Urs.
There you go.
That's pretty much it. But I don't think Dylan Larkin is going to miss any time.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
Yeah. And Evgeny Malkin suspended for 5 games. Will Ben Kindle actually have an opportunity here? I don't think so. And I think Kindle's actually like a really good player. But if so I think that the idea here is that maybe Kindle will get the spot on power play one. I think it's more likely to be Chinakhov, personally.
Whoever it is will be valuable, and we will talk about it. So
yeah.
Join the Discord if you haven't already, because that's where we're going to break the news first and like who we're seeing on the practice reports getting that power play one spot, and we'll tell you to actively pick them up ASAP. But Jakey has Chinakhov, so he's maybe a little biased.
No, I actually I like Kindle as a player too. I just think that I think that it's just more likely to be Chinakhov. Man, Pittsburgh is in a tough situation.
They lost Crosby, now they're losing Malkin. They're reeling a little bit.
The Metropolitan is super close.
Yeah.
So this is a tough one. Tough time to be a Stuart Skinner owner, let me tell you. Okay. All right, let's get into the Would You Rathers.
So the best segment in all of fantasy hockey, the Would You Rathers, and I'm so glad you made it until this part of the episode. If it's your first time here, welcome. I prepare 5 Would You Rathers, one of each position, left wing, right wing, center, defenseman, goalie, and I usually try to split the difference between my 2 co-hosts, Jake and Josh, who is currently not present. But Josh gave me his answers over text, so I know where he is going, and I'll ask you, Jakey, what you think, and ideally I split the difference. This is really good to usually find trade value and also just like rest of season value for these guys. The Would You Rathers usually are, let's say, quote unquote, bigger names, but now that the trade deadline is passed in almost every league, we're hovering over more like waiver wire guys or guys that are like 60% or less type of player, or just guys that are more relevant. So let's get started with the first Would You Rather. This, to me, we're talking centers. Who do you think is more valuable? Who would you rather have rest of season? Nazem Kadri, the new Colorado Avalanche potentially second line winger, or Charlie Coyle, the GOAT line 3C?
Okay. I'm thinking I think without face-offs.
Yeah, but this is always full bangers category league. So hits, blocks, shots, PIMS, just no face-off wins because most leagues do not play with face-off wins. Ours does because we're crazy.
Yeah. Well, no, the reason I'm saying without face-offs is just because like Kadri and Coyle are basically neck and neck with that, but now Kadri may not be taking face-offs. If he's taking face-offs, then he's line 3, and in that case, I'd way rather Coyle. So I'm kind of having to think, which is nuts because Coyle's also line 3, but Coyle's been so good. so I think that the way I'm looking at this is that you already have such tremendous, production out of Coyle that it has to slow down because it's just been so ridiculous. And I think Kadri's going to be better moving forward because how can he not be? It's been just horrible in Calgary this season. So overall, I guess Kadri's got a higher ceiling moving forward, but I do think that Coyle is the choice here. Because I think that the ceiling's not much higher, considering if this is Coyle's ceiling, then I don't know if Kadri can be as good as this. And even with that, like how much worse is he actually going to get? Like he's had this sustained production for a while now, and I think my choice here is Coyle, which is crazy because coming into this season, it wouldn't even have been a conversation.
It's not a guy that was drafted.
Think about having. Yeah, so Coyle. Yeah. I'm going Coyle. How about you?
I'm also going Coyle. And I mean, this is an exciting one because, Kadri just got moved to Colorado. Everybody's hyped about it. They were hoping for this. But Charlie Coyle, man, this guy is... we need to put some respect on his name because I feel like nobody's giving him credit. It's just like, oh, do I stream Coyle for now or whatever? Like, this guy is a pickup and a mainstay now. Like, he's producing at basically a point per game pace. He's shooting above 3 shots a game. He's hitting. He's winning faceoffs. He's blocking. He's on the power play 1. Like, this guy he's a jack of all trades at this point, and I don't think I see this changing rest of the season. Like, the coach loves him. He's putting him in this opportunity. He's flourishing. So why would things change? I think Kadri has a lot of what ifs at the moment. Maybe if we're talking in a week or two and he's, line 1, power play 1, it's a different question. But for the moment, I think there's no way in hell. Oh, that's a bleep. There's no way in bleep that you
Hell
can go.
A bleep?
I don't know if it's actually a bleep or not, but I did not mean to say it, but I said it. I actually don't think it's a bleep. You guys let us know. Is it a bleep or not?
That's the one you catch yourself on. That's hilarious.
But for me, it's Coyle, and I think it's pretty clear. But I thought it was definitely worth the question because everybody's talking about Kadri right now. I spoke to Josh. Yeah. Josh told me also it's Coyle for him. Like, I just did not split the difference here, but still fun.
No, I think we're thinking about this the right way, honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go into the next one.
Talking about right wingers, would you rather the most famous player on our waiver shows weekly, Matt Zuccarello, the plural of Matts, or Beckett Sennecke of the Anaheim Ducks, potentially the highest scoring rookie forward this season?
This one's really, really good. Because, first of all, let me say one thing that's like leaning. Yeah, okay. I'm going to give my answer, and then you'll let me know what you think. And I think the difference will be split. I'm going Sennecke. Yeah, I'm going Sennecke. And the reason I'm going Sennecke is because, one, his shots hits have actually been really good, especially as of late. And this is just, Zuccarello does not really have, 0.8 hits is actually not bad over the last 30 days, but it's really not something that you can expect from him consistently. So that's, like, it's so close to start that I think that's what gives the edge to Sennecke. And additionally, I expect his shots to be better and the points to be similar.
Zucca just been doing it the whole season. Like, what you're getting. It's like you don't really get the fluctuations. You get the consistency of, usually just under a point per game. The shots, the power play, like, it's always there. The deployment is safe. Sennecke's just been blowing up recently, and we're like, all right, where does it stop? Yeah. Where does it end? Where does it, settle at? The boat was low. The boat went up. It became rocket ship, but now rocket ship is tired, so it might become boat. But where was boat stop?
That's it. There you go. Well said. But I think I think that with this, Anaheim is actually, it's obviously been a roller coaster for them. Part of the reason that Sennecke kind of didn't perform that well is because one, he's a rookie. You can expect inconsistency, and two, Leo Carlson was hurt for a while. They had some injuries that they were dealing with, and now they're healthy. So I think that with this, rookies get better as the season goes on. I expect Sennecke to get better. Not to get better, but to like maintain, 0.8 to a point per game, which may be a little bit worse, but with the shots hits, I think that it makes up for the, let's say, point discrepancy that Zuccarello may have in his favor.
I don't know if this is shocking, but I'm also going Sennecke. And
wow. I actually am surprised.
Really?
Yes.
I think it would be in my nature to go Zuccarello and just kind of take the bird in the hand and know that the consistency over the long term is good. But from what I've seen from this kid in the eye test, like he is nuts. I think if it was any other year, he probably wins the Calder. I don't think anybody was talking about it when coming into the year when Schaefer, we knew he was going to be in the NHL, he was going to be a top candidate. We knew Demidov, it felt like it was his to lose going into the season. We're like, there's no way that Demidov just doesn't win the Calder, right? Sennecke could have won it. He could win it still. I think
Schaefer.
I think Schaefer's going to win it. But if Schaefer wasn't Schaefer, Sennecke would win it. But it's nuts. And this Anaheim team is starting to find its groove. They're getting healthier. I think it just means that, the lineup becomes stronger. They're going to be a playoff team. And a lot of it is because Sennecke's scoring. His shots hits combo really, I think, gives him the edge over Zuccarello. And I think the playoff schedule is also better right now for Anaheim in the playoffs. That's why those two factors are what I'm projecting to be the difference maker here and why I want Sennecke over Zook. Because I think Zook is going to probably average the same amount of points as Sennecke rest of the season, or maybe slightly above. Like I can see Zook being like a 0.9, 0.95, and Sennecke being like a 0.85, 0.9 type of player, which is still amazing for where you got him for. But the extra hit and 1.5 hits or 2 hits, plus the playoff schedule, give me Sennecke, plus the potential of him just being, you don't know where the ceiling is because he's so young and talented.
Yeah, and that's it. It's one game, literally, but the 4 games in week 25 versus the 3 for because Anaheim has a 3-3-4 in weeks 21 to 23, and
And who do you think Josh would pick?
Zuccarello.
He texted me. He was going Sennecke.
Wow.
Yeah,
really?
Shocking, right? I wish he was here to talk about it.
I'm actually so surprised.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nuts.
Okay. I can't believe that, actually.
I know.
Because that was a real struggle.
It was.
Like the Coyle one, to me, I'm like super confident. This one's a lot harder. Yep. So, all right. Let's go on to the next one.
All right. Talking left wingers. Would you rather Pierre-Luc Dubois, PLD, not to be mixed with BLT, or Dylan Holloway of the St. Louis
bacon,
Blues?
Lettuce, tomatoes, or Dylan Holloway? Asking the hard-hitting questions over here.
How hungry are you?
So pretty hungry, actually.
Yeah,
same. All right, so first things first, we have the same exact playoff schedule discrepancy as we had for the previous one, meaning Washington has a 3-3-4. Minnesota, this is weeks 21 to 23, has a 3-3-3. So better playoff schedule by 1 game, but
you said Minnesota.
Finals.
Did you mean St. Louis?
Minnesota. Sorry, yes, St. Louis also has a Oh, St. Louis is a 2-3-4.
Yes.
My bad. Yeah, and Washington is a 3-3-4. So same story, 1 game, except here it's 1 game in week 21. Week 21. Okay, now that I kind of sort of landed that,
yes, the boat has stabilized.
Yeah, it's true. I gotta stick with boats, no planes. Okay, so what I think over here is that PLD is going to have like a really solid finish to the season, but I think the shots hits combo for Holloway is a lot safer, so that's kind of my initial thoughts. Overall, I think PLD will score more points, and it is nice to have that slightly better playoff schedule. And I say that even though Holloway has been on an absolute tear.
Yeah,
I just think that
it's come in bunches for Holloway.
Yeah, it has. I mean, on the season, he obviously he had that huge injury, but beforehand, it was really inconsistent. Honestly, I think I'm gonna go Holloway here. I think that now that he's got a bit more ice time, let's say, to play with, and Thomas is back, so he'll be playing with better players. I think that I really do like PLD rest of season, but overall, Holloway can have a really, really strong finish. And yeah, I mean, I guess the big trade for them was Faulk.
And Schenn.
So there were yeah, true. True. I don't know if that necessarily affects his ice time, Holloway, but there's a good chance that he's gonna play with Thomas rest of season, and I think that that could be really good for him. So, yeah, I'm gonna go. And they're on a 3-game win streak, so
Yep.
just saying, maybe they will end up second in the Central.
Probably not.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Holloway here.
Yeah.
That's also a really close one for me, though.
Yeah, I think PLD has kind of like really been exciting for people since he came back from injury. You know, he started off with that first game back and he was hot, and then it kind of like we were like, okay, he's gonna get power play 1, but ended up not being that. I'm going Holloway, and I think what you're going to get from Holloway right now until the end of the season is what you drafted Dylan Holloway to be. This is why he was Josh's signature pick going into the season. I think everything you held him for, you picked him up for, it's going to pay dividends right now because his deployment is finally settled. I think he's going to play with Robert Thomas the rest of the season, and I think that could be electric for his value. We know he's a guy that shoots a lot and that hits. He'll hit about like 2 hits a game, but the shots, like since coming back from injury, he's played 5 games. He's had 5 shots in 2 of them, 6 shots in 1 of them. Like that's just incredible value. The points have come in bunches, but I can see it stabilizing. It's really interesting to see how the power play shakes out, but I just think that he's going to be a banger category stud with a high shot volume, some hits, playing with a top end center who's finally healthy. You know, it's a little too late for St. Louis, I think, in the regular season, but that doesn't mean they're not going to try to finish the season strong. They already know they sold off their best players. They're playing with house money at this point. Just going to go out there, play, have fun, and I think he can be really valuable. PLD could be also valuable, but I just think Holloway's going to be better.
Yeah, it's super tight. I guess PLD gets more points. Maybe it's close enough, but with the shots hits combo, I think Holloway is the choice here, and Josh is going Holloway for sure.
Yeah, Josh is going Holloway.
Yeah, I knew it. I knew it. All right, let's see this next one.
All right, talking about defensemen here. This might be a little bit surprising, but would you rather Filip Hronek of the Vancouver Canucks, the last man standing, or John Carlson, newly acquired Anaheim Duck?
I mean, just like caliber of players / past fantasy relevance. Obviously, the initial instinct is for sure Carlson. But if you look a bit more into it, Hronek's actually been really decent as of late.
Hronek has been decent, and you know he's going to be the power play 1 quarterback there. They got nobody else.
Yeah, I guess the Bouillon experiment is not coming to fruition this year so far. So, do you think there is a chance that they play Bouillon?
No, I think it's just Hronek.
Just
yeah, I think it's just Hronek.
I see. Yeah. I mean, the obvious, like, the crux of this question is that John Carlson's ambiguous for power play 1, whereas Hronek is a mainstay. Nevertheless, I think that Anaheim's going to score a lot more, and even without the power play 1, he could be valuable, John Carlson. Plus, I expect better shots, hits, etc. from him.
Hronek hits a lot more than
not hits.
Carlson.
Yeah. I meant shots, because even the blocks are kind of in the same.
Hronek shoots more than John Carlson too, I believe.
Not on the season, no, but it's been like kind of like an up and down situation for Carlson. So, look, he's got that looming injury too. But even with that, like, I just think that Vancouver is going to not be scoring many goals the rest of the season. I'm going to go Carlson here because I think that the ceiling is higher, and that's why I want to go for the ceiling instead of the floor. If I had the opportunity to pick up both of them, which obviously is not the case, 91% owned for Carlson. But yeah, just who would I rather have on my team? Like, I think I'm happier with Carlson in this case. Floor lower, ceiling higher, but I think like the median outcome or such would be in Carlson's favor.
I'm going Carlson too. Josh was also going Carlson. I think the crux of the question here was more, the ambiguity of John Carlson, where he's going to line up. I said Hronek shoots more, but it's very up and down. I think Hronek, you're getting like a very stagnant level of production. It's just not exciting because he's not surrounded by a lot of talent. I think John Carlson has a lot of higher upside, even though the floor might be lower. I think it was more like, would you rather Hronek on power play 1 or John Carlson on power play 2? I think that's a tight question, but to be honest, give me the swing of John Carlson
That's
and
it.
what that represents for your fantasy chances. Like, you win fantasy by taking a risk like this. This might not even seem like a risk because Hronek just does not have much name value. But at the end of the day, you're looking at deployment that has a lot of pull. But I think John Carlson is just the guy you got to go with.
I feel the exact same. Yeah. Okay. No different split yet.
No, it's crazy. I mean, it's hard with these waiver guys or
hey,
lower level guys.
No, it's close though. Like,
yeah.
Especially the Sennecke one. Like, that's like that really ate me up inside. And
Yeah.
honestly, like,
whoa, that
they've
sounds
all
kind
been
of
good.
Fun. Whoa.
Okay.
All right.
Next one.
Next one. Talking about goalies, would you rather the GOAT, the man that should have been traded, Jordan Binnington, or the demise of the Edmonton Oilers, Tristan Jarry, rest of season?
That's brutal. That's brutal. Yeah, I'm going Binnington here.
Wow, no hesitation
this one,
at all.
Yeah, no. This one to me is not even that close. I mean, like, I actually think Binnington is a better goalie, and Jarry sucks. Like, Jarry's not good. Like, he's just bad
out here.
I don't know what to say.
Same.
Like, I don't like. I actually think that like you could have aimed lower on the other side. To
really?
be honest, like you were being kind of generous. Not that Binnington is tremendous, and I actually think he will lose starts to Hofer, but at least he's like okay. Like, he's good. He's a good goalie. It's just I think I'd rather.
Is more the issue. Jarry, I think he just sucks.
No, and as much as I totally agree there, like, it almost doesn't even matter because like he'll find a way to lose, Jarry.
Since January, Jarry has only posted 2 games over 900. One of them was a 902, and the other one was a shutout against Vancouver. Every other game is like an 850 or below.
Yeah,
it's just
exactly.
He's been horrendous, guys. His roster percentage is at 34%, but he's still, probably in like a split as the starter on an Edmonton team that should be winning games. Binnington is a split starter on the Blues who should not be winning as many games. But I think the quality difference here is definitely something that needs to be, considered. So for you, it's like a no-brainer. It's Binnington.
No-brainer, yeah. Yeah, okay, can I ask a counter question, and then we'll see what Josh said on this? Would you rather Wallstead or Jarry?
Jarry. Just because I think the amount of games they're starting.
Fair. Okay, fine.
But
that's kind of like
Wallstead.
But that's like more in the realm of I'm like, oof, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I actually think that, look, I don't expect St. Louis to have a strong finish.
And to be fair, we just poo-pooed on Jarry's stats, but like Binnington's stats have not been amazing either. Like, he's posted a lot of below 900 games. Like, he's not an incredible fantasy goalie this year by any means.
No, he's been bad, but like I just Jarry's been worse. Like, I can't. I don't think Jarry.
But the question is, who do you want moving forward?
Yeah. Binnington.
Yeah.
Like, I think you're going Binnington too, if I had to guess.
I mean, I'm not just doing that because he's on my team. He probably won't be on my team for long. I streamed him hoping that he got traded, and that didn't happen. But I just don't want any. It's just crazy because we're talking about a starter for the Edmonton Oilers who should be winning games. Yeah. But they're not really winning as many games as you would expect right now. And the quality is just not there. And I feel like he could lose the job at any moment. They're begging for somebody to just win a game. Binnington, I think he has some quality in him. Do I expect it to come out a lot on this St. Louis Blues team that is, that's sold at the deadline? No, but I think he has some good games in him. I'm going Binnington as well. Josh is going Tristan Jarry.
What?
I know.
This is the one that split the difference?
Yes, this is the one that split the difference.
Serious?
I think Josh, my reasoning for what Josh thinks, and he can maybe explain it on the next episode, but I think he would be like, it's just a starter on an Edmonton team that's going to win more games. They both suck, so might as well give me the one that's on a better team. I think that's
I'm
going
worried.
to be his
I'm
logic.
worried about him. I'm like, this is actually concerning. No, come on. Like, I get it. Like,
he is very sick, so maybe that's coming into play.
Yeah, obviously the logic is there. He'll be fine, by the way, for anyone concerned.
Yeah, he's down in some Dayquil.
Yeah, exactly. But that's funny. No, I'm surprised. I really think that Binnington's like the obvious choice here. Like, not that this is like a normal way that we do this, but I think that of the ones that we do, Sennecke was the hardest one for me to choose, and Jarry and Binnington was the easiest one.
Yeah, like, I mean, I saw your hesitation levels, and they were nowhere to be found on the Binnington one, which I'm not shocked by, but nonetheless, I'm happy I split the difference out, at least one of them.
The thing is, it's a worthwhile question. I just don't. First of all, I don't know if I'd rather Binnington over Hofer, and second of all,
That's fair.
I don't know if I'd rather Jarry over Ingram. so that's like a whole other thing. You know what I mean? Like that's like another element to this equation. But like, no, I think, I mean, yeah, it's a thinker, but no, Binnington's the choice here for me.
Let us know in the comments what you guys would pick. Everybody that's listening or watching, like I'm genuinely curious who you guys would pick. So if you let us know in the YouTube comments or in the Discord or in the Spotify comments, wherever you're listening, just Binnington or Jarry. I'm curious, or
and
Kadri or Coyle.
Yeah, and also if you were really hyped about Tristan Jarry coming into the getting traded to the Oilers this year, and you were kind of speaking to us about it in the TikTok a few months back.
We told you so.
If you're listening, let us know your thoughts on this particular Would You Rather. Everyone should, but you guys in particular, if you can, please let us know.
I'm ready. I'm ready to defend my position. The stats speak for themselves at this point, but yes.
All right. Thank you to everybody for listening to Banger Management, the Fantasy Hockey Podcast with Jake and Kevin, and Josh will be back in maybe next episode or the one after. Hopefully he's feeling better soon.
At least we still got Jet Woo.
Sorry?
Jet Woo.
Yeah, Jet Woo is going to do the woo for us on the next episode, perhaps. All right. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. We are there. Subscribe on YouTube if you enjoyed, and give this video a like if it was a good one, which it was. I think it was fun.
It was.
Yeah, this was a good one. A lot of content. My gosh. But
yeah.
But yeah. Okay. And all the socials are in the podcast description. And be sure to join the Discord community.
I think it's time for...
Are you Ernie today?
I'm never Ernie. I'm only Mr. Numbers. So I'm number 2. You're Mr. Ernie. So I think you should take it away, Ernie.
All right. Ba-da-ba-bum-bam. Banger Management Fantasy Hockey Podcast. Woo!
Woo!
Obviously I can't sing, but I'm like,
I heard a little accent in there at some point.
I'm trying to imitate Josh. Like I'm trying to like channel the way Josh sings it. So I'm like banking on like the ability to imitate as opposed to like channeling any inner musicality to sing.
This is why they call him the best voice of this generation.
Songbird.
Yeah, whatever that is.